reason is Warren's absence. If you can just talk to us about that, please.
Yes, Doc. That's why I've got Doc Rob Collins, our team doctor with us. He'll explain it.
Okay, so Warren returned from injury yesterday, and while he was running in the training, he felt a click in his knee. So the knee swelled up a little bit overnight, and it was nothing that we were worried about. Swelled up a bit overnight, and he doesn't feel comfortable with it. So we just want to take the precaution, send him for a scan today. He'll see the orthopedic surgeon today as well, and then, well, depending on what they show, most likely it's not going to show anything that we're worried about, and he'll join us a bit later. But it obviously depends on what the scans show.
It's obviously the same knee that's kept him out.
It is the same knee, yes.
Okay. And when you say join a bit later, is he not flying with you later today?
The plan was that he was on the flight, Jock, but now we got to just adapt.
Depending on what the
depending on
shows,
what, and depending on the report from the medical side.
Are you at all concerned, either of you, about it? I mean, is it something that could be a 6-week or 6-month thing, or could it just be nothing?
It's it could be either, really.
Okay.
With examining him, we can't find anything in that knee that we're worried about. So that's why we're getting an MRI scan. Takes probably about an hour or so to get done, and then the surgeon is actually in theatre at the moment. So in terms of timing and getting to the airport is why he's not. We actually don't want to rush it. So we'd rather actually say he doesn't fly with us. If he's checked out and everything's fine, then maybe he'd fly later. It depends when later is. We can't determine that until we know what the tests show. But yes, it's very unlikely to be something that's going to keep him out for an extended period of time, because we would be able to find that on examining him.
So it's obviously that's quite a blow for you. You would have no doubt planned around Warren being back, or not.
Yeah, you know, Jock, we are in the sort of game that these things happen. Mm-hmm. So it is a blow to us. He's Captain Fantastic, and but the reality is I've got trust in the guys fitting in. That's why we run a squad system, and we're backing our squad system. And Achivas will take his place at 8. Showed in the last few games that he's up to it for whatever the fight is.
Doc, can you maybe shed some light on Ross and Piwe?
Sure. The report that came out last week said they should be cleared by this week. They had to do final medicals on Monday, and they both they weren't quite 100%. And so at the Lions we like pushing people or getting people back quicker than usual, but we don't take a chance. If they don't look like they're right, then they're not right.
Obviously not right for the next 4 weeks, or is it a case?
No, it's not obviously not right for the next 4 weeks. They're not right for this week. We don't take people with us who are injured. So if they could well recover in the next week or two, but it's a matter of seeing how they do.
And Swys, I take it that means you guys can't replace, can't bring them over unless there's an injury.
Correct. 100% right. Yeah. Although what we're doing at this stage with Warren Whiteley, we're not filling that gap. So if he recovers, he can just join.
Swys, how was the time off? Was it needed, and how the guys responded this week?
I must say it was at the right time, just before the tour. The guys look fresh and ready to go, and looking forward to the tour.
What's going to be the biggest sort of challenge for you? I know it's a longer trip than you used to the last 2-3 years. Is that the biggest challenge, or what would you say is the biggest challenge?
Jock, you know, we take it week by week, so it's not really a challenge. We love touring, so we're just going to do what we did last year. We had, if you can call it the easy tour, we had the easy tour. You know, we played 3 games in Australia, which one of them was Perth, so it's like almost it's not far off. But this time it's a bit more challenging. It's definitely more challenging. There's an extra 2 hours time zone if you go to New Zealand from Australia, so yeah, it's a bit more of a challenge. But the way Mushi, our manager, planned the whole tour looks very exciting, and we're staying at good places and close to rugby fields and close to the gyms. So that's what it's all about.
Seeing that you're flying out so late, I gather you've done most of your preparations here.
That was the plan. Yeah, we really had, along with Doc, who's very good with these sort of things. We could have like in the past gone over on Friday or Saturday, so you spend a week there, but we thought it's a good thing we go as late as possible. It's a Friday night game, and then you know, almost stay in our time zone if we can as much as possible, and then adapt after the game before we go up to the Reds in Brisbane.
Nick, you're back in South Africa. The Lions, why are they your destination of choice? Yeah, I think a lot of things go into a decision like that on making your next move from a career perspective. But you know, we had sort of chats, or I had chats with them, and you know, thoroughly enjoyed what I heard. I enjoy, you know, the style of play, but also sort of the environment they create. Something that really made my decision really easy, and yeah, it's a very exciting, positive environment, and I'm really excited to be here and really privileged to be able to play.
And your camaraderie with the guys in the team, have you been accepted with open arms?
Yeah, it's been great. Like I say, a very welcoming environment. I only had my first field session this week, which I think as a rugby player is where you really get to know people. There's only so much like change and banter can do for a new guy. So being on the field with everyone has made it a lot easier, and sort of that next step into getting settled, which has helped.
Nick, do you think, I mean, there's obviously a lot of talk about the different hemispheres and different styles of rugby, obviously conditions come into play, etc. But coming back to Super Rugby now, having experienced both, do you think those trips, one, make you a better player to go play in both hemispheres? And where do you see yourself, what skills of yours do you feel are going to complement the Lions?
I definitely think I'm a better player since I left. Obviously, there's a certain focus overseas on aspects, especially with regards to scrum off. You know, in terms of a kicking game, in terms of being more in control and relieving pressure. Very high pressure environments in the Northern Hemisphere. Every game you play, there's literally something on the line. It's a playoff spot or a top 6 finish or a European Cup. So using that experience, sort of playing week in, week out, I think, you know, I'll bring that with me. And yeah, I think I'm here for a reason. You know, the coaches, you know, I know what they expect of me, and a big part of my role is going to be fitting in to the style of play that they are about. I just need to do my job and sort of pull the strings, and you know, there's more than enough exciting players out there to do the rest.
Swys, with Nick in the frame, are you happy with the depth at half back?
Yeah, definitely. He fitted in like a perfect piece of puzzle in the whole thing, and he's a scrum off. I already like the way he goes about things. You know, the hookers and the scrum offs, they're just a bit different, and in a good way. So I must say, Nick, it's wonderful to have you here and be part of the Lions family. And straight away, every guy here welcomed him with open arms, and he's part of a great family.
Swys, have you seen a difference in the Waratahs this year? I mean, obviously Daryl Gibson's been there a couple of years now, and they play a bit differently than they did under Checker. But have you seen a difference in their play? And are they stronger this year now that Force is gone? Have they? I know the Rebels are obviously strong.
Yeah, they're very good. They drew one and lost one. They're sitting very strong on their conference table. In fact, they top as well. The style of play they're playing is a all-over brand. They've got a good scrum. You know, I don't know if Alau is playing or not, but with Foley and those kind of guys, and that monster winger that they possess there, you know, they've got a very good balanced team, and they made the up, and they're showing it in their results. So we'll have to be we'll have to bring our A game on Friday night, Brendan.
Coach, sorry I came in late. Maybe this was already addressed. Apologies.
No
Coach,
problem.
You guys last year went unbeaten in Australia. 4 from 4, if I recall.
3 from 3.
3 from 3.
Yeah, but I like 4 from 4.
Well, 100% record.
Yeah.
You guys must be talking how many wins you want. Obviously, you also got New Zealand this time. So are you guys thinking at least 2 in Australia and then start thinking about New Zealand?
Yeah, you know, I said it how many times, it's game for game. It's a cliche by now. We're really process driven, and it's really just the next game. It's Friday night. Even in selection of the team, we're thinking of Friday night, and when that's done and dusted, we'll focus on the next one. So what I've learned, and Doc was with all 5 of the tours with me, and with Akkers and them, and he will tell you, as soon as you get your mind there, you lose it here. So we got to just think now how to get the guys fresh as soon as possible when we arrive in Sydney. what is the protocol we're following, focus just on the Waratahs and just on Friday night.
And if you look back to last season, what would you say was the keys to success in Australia?
Look, yeah, we planned very well, like any other game. I think the big key was we didn't have many injuries last year. We were very blessed. We only had a few injuries, and maybe the force wasn't too much on song when we played them, so we could start well. Then we went down to the Rebels, who was definitely not as good as this year. Last year they a different team. They've made the up. And then we played the Brumbies, which Kwagga had a solo break right at the end to win us the game. So let's not get carried away as well. We sneaked 3 wins there, but there's still big room for improvement in the style that we want to play and how we want to play.
And then on the squad, obviously you have a few guys back now, including Warren. You must be happy with the squad getting stronger at this stage of the competition.
Yeah, you came a bit late. Warren is unfortunately still a bit out for this. We hope only for a short stint. But Achiva's a wonderful player, one for the future. So he will do well there in Warren's place. Although we will miss Warren immensely.
Do you know how long he's out for?
Doc, you want to repeat that one?
Yeah,
So I apologize.
we're waiting for scans and specialist opinion. So it shouldn't be too long, but we're waiting to see.
We'll keep you updated.
Doc, can I ask you quickly, you guys are flying a bit later now to try and negate jet lag and that. What is the process when you land there and when does jet lag usually sit in and that sort of thing, and what's the whole process around that?
Have you got an hour?
The short answer.
Yeah, the short answer is we're essentially trying to stay in the South African time zone.
Okay.
So you can't quite stay in the South African time zone, but we're changing only a few time zones to be there. So our meals are different times of day, our sleeping is at different times, etc.
So what time would you be playing South African time then?
4 p.m. We're changing 4 time zones, so we'll be playing at 4 p.m. South African time.
Okay.
Sorry, our time. We'll be playing
our time.
in our time where we'll be living. We'll be playing at 4 p.m.
Is this something that's been done before? The way the science around it or whatever? Or?
It is scientifically worked out very carefully. Yeah.
Okay. So when will jet lag then sit in? A couple of hours afterwards, or a day or two?
Jet lag doesn't set in if you travel at 1 time zone per day. So jet lag is only when you go faster than 1 time zone per day.
Okay.
So we're doing things to try and stop that changing.
Okay. So you might not have it at all.
Well, if you change 8 time zones over 8 days, you don't get jet lag.
Okay.
So if that makes sense.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I don't understand it either.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite.
Doc, what we've got to is Courtnall still on track to be ready when you guys get back?
He's on track to be looking at around the end of May, but so the question would be then when we come back, we've got 2 games, and then there's the June test window. So if he plays if it's necessary and he's well enough, then he could play in one of those 2 games. But otherwise, he gets another 3 weeks to recover without playing in those. So he's going to be ready end of May, June sometime, if everything carries on.
Doc, just on the injuries again, and maybe coach as well. Apiwe, he's back, yes?
Apiwe is not in the team. He failed his test on Monday, but he's very, very close. So Apiwe should be ready in the next week or 2.
Coach, I know that the Lions are a different team to all the other teams, but the South African teams that won, towards Malaysia this season, they've struggled. I think with the Sharks, try to do their best there. When you go there, does it give you guys maybe a bit of pressure to, national pride, and then also for you the fact that last season you were also a team that did well, away from home?
Yeah, to mention the other teams firstly, I thought the Sharks played well, extremely well in the last 2 games, and they just as well could have won the one against the Hurricanes. The Bulls played well for starters. They were up every time, 17-3 and 14 how much, and they really started well. But I must admit, it gives a bit of pressure, that it is tougher there. Our tour is 4 weeks, they come 2 weeks. It's an interesting competition, but but that's how the cards has been dealt, and we play it that way. So we don't want to focus on the pressure and stuff. What we're really trying to think of in every game is like when we went to Loftus in the first game, or when we last year, when with the South African derbies as well. We want to play between the four white lines and focus on that, and rather play for an audience of one than thinking of playing for an audience of 40 or 20,000, whatever, and have fun and count your blessings and play and focus on those things. It's very easy to lose track and focus on the wrong things.
You've spoken about Hachiva, coach, but I mean, when you look at Madosh and the way he did in the last match before you went on Bayern, does it boost his confidence? Does it help, to be on that kind of form, especially when he's going out and he's going to be starting?
Yes, I must say, you mentioned Achiva and Madoshi, and we've got good youngsters in the weight, and they really, their confidence is up. That's why I know Achiva will slot in for Warren very well. He's very fast, he understands the game, and he's a team man, and his character fits our style and thinking and the method that we stand for at the line. So yeah, him and the other youngsters are slotting in well.
You must be happy to have Ruan as well, Comric, that is, considering that.
Oh yeah, he's got vast experience. He's a really, I know it's a cliche as well, he's a quality player. I often wonder why we all use that word, but in any case, he's a cool head. He's a unreal fellow. Once you understand him, you don't want anyone else in the team. He's a character, which is important in the team setup as well. But he brings a calmness and a cool head and a very good right foot.
So your new consultancy role with SARugbym, does Rassie expect any feedback from you while on tour? Is that going to happen maybe on some places after the tour?
No, look, what Rassie has started here is wonderful. He's got a total relationship with the franchises. So that's basically what it is. There's constant communication. We speak to them and they speak to us about resting players and not to rest players. But there's absolutely a step in the right direction. And secondly, my involvement there is a big and a huge honor. That that I can be involved mainly in the attack there with Rassie as a consultant and the attacking department, be involved there. So yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction, and Rassie is a real rugby guy and he'll do well for this country. I know that.
Sorry. Swys, I see you've penciled Frank Wayne at 7 and you've got Achiva at 8. Both pretty tall fellas. Is this a deliberate ploy to attack the Waratahs lineup?
They've got a good line out. Yeah, it helps because Achiva is so good in the line out, and Coach Philip Lemmer always loves him there as well. And Franco brings a different dimension at 7. The first 2 games when we played him, we did do well and win against the Sharks and the Bulls, so it's a good combination to have. And the Aussies has got tall guys. They've got a tall pack, the Waratahs, so it's not a bad thing.
So it's just following on Rube's question. Do you have more details about? I know obviously June comes, you're going to be focused on the test there, but do you have more details between now and then? What do you do, or do you just carry on with the lines?
100% at this stage is my focus of the lines. I'm still contracted until next year. Rassie is utilising me totally when we have that break in Super Rugby. Then I'll be involved there. Obviously, we do talk and communicate, but I want to just assure everyone that my focus is 100% with the Lions, but when I'll go with them, it will be 100% there. That's what I always try and do. Wherever I'm involved in, I just want to give my all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.